welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Lou from the Fire It Up with CJ show. Woo!
Woo! If you've ever wanted to feel grounded, safer, more secure, or even a little bit more at peace during this time, then do we have the Shine Bright while bobbing up and down, finding ways to be of service show for you. Today we'll
Nice.
talk about choosing the upper room, finding a higher place, expanding versus contracting, and look at how in the world to get back to positivity even when there's a pandemic around. That plus we'll talk about, you knew you could laugh about pandemics. That we'll talk about the incredible power of boot camps, community building to the max, 7-day-a-week YouTube lives and premieres, concentric waves of motion, head opening, video madness, hearing noises, roller coasters of ups and downs, ghost peppers and Carolina Reapers, the power of scholarships, and what in the world, dinner with doofus?
Oh, God.
Has to do with anything. So welcome back to the show, CJ. Are you ready to
I
shine?
am ready to shine. Woohoo! I'm going to spray. It says
Woohoo!
shocker 1 and 2. Woo, 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 woo.
And I will match that with some Carolina Reaper and some Ghost Pepper. Reaper, Ghost Pepper. Reaper, Ghost Pepper. Ain't nothing getting in here.
Okay, what chakra 1 is patchouli, red, spikewort, and vetiver. And chakra 2 is blood orange, sandalwood, and yin yang. And I kind of am digging this. And these are, interestingly, before we even started the show and I knew our script, these are the two that I pulled up. So how perfect for the
Grounded.
grounded, safer, more secure. How do your peppers work?
I've always said if people wanted to give anything to me, the greatest gift in the world that you can give me is hot sauces. And what I did, I finally got for myself a few weeks ago. This ghost peppers is one of the hottest peppers in the world.
Mm.
And so I've got ghost pepper flakes here. But the hottest pepper is actually twice as hot. The hottest pepper in the world is the Carolina Reaper. And I have just been wanting to boost my immune system to
Does
the
pepper help
max.
does
Oh,
pepper help?
yeah. And I can't say antiviral, and I don't know the science, but yes, overall, your immune system is boosted to the max with peppers. And I have just been taking this as an opportunity to enjoy all the hot pepper goodness that I love. Don't try this at home, folks, unless you're
Okay,
ready
so
for it.
where do you use it and how much do you use? Like just a dash or
I was starting at a dash. I'm now starting to get to multiple dashes, or a good, healthy mini dash full. And I'll use it, not usually on my oatmeal, although I have once or twice, but
oh
on my
yeah.
veggies, on tortillas and burritos and things like that. Almost any excuse that I can to heat up a meal, I will go at minimum a habanero and then maybe up to this. So like a regular red pepper is, I think, somewhere between 0 and 100. A jalapeno is probably at a Scoville rating, they call it, of maybe 100. I think a habanero might be at, I don't know, 1,000 or something on the Scoville rating. Maybe it's higher.
But
Maybe
what so
maybe
the
maybe we'll say
the
100,000.
hotter the more immunity properties?
Yes, at least that's how I'm viewing it. The more that it gets your metabolism going, and it does boost your metabolism, the more fight you have. And so, 0 to 100 is, the little red pepper that you find in an American General Chow Pow chicken or one of those
Yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah.
In the old days, that would cripple me to my knees. That would be somewhere between 0 and 100. Carolina Reaper is 2.2 million. Oh, yeah,
I don't
baby.
know if it's so is it really helping you get feel more grounded, safer, or in
To
greater
me,
peace?
yes. And
Really?
for Vata, actually, hot peppers are yes.
No,
So,
I'm Vata and Pitta.
yes.
But you're Vata Pitta.
I'm Vata Pitta. I'm much more Vata than Pitta. We're talking about doshas here, Ayurvedic medicine. People who are Vata are very windy. They're very spun. They're very. Uh, if you saw me at my worst, that would be my Vata tendencies tending to come
Oh,
out.
I don't think it's oh maybe. I'm like
But it's
I'm
it's
like
rare. I'm usually very
65%. Yeah, I'm like
balanced these days.
65% Vata, 20 like I don't know, 30% Pitta and
And
whatever remaining
Pitta
5%.
is more the fiery aspect, and Jessica actually very quietly has a lot of Pitta. So she's more Vata than Pitta, but she has more Pitta, more fire than I do.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's why you need fire. Okay. Okay.
So
All right.
the fire brings me
Well, my
up.
show is
I
fired up with CJ, so I'm like you're even the even our
perfect.
call is firing you up. Okay, so
So
tell
I'm
me a little
playing
bit
with
about your
shamanic
life. Yeah.
tools here.
Yeah.
So Jessica came back from Sedona right before everything went down, and she bought me this most beautiful obsidian rock right here,
Yes.
and it's got a nice sheen to it. And I always have rocks, feathers, fetishes. I like got my good shaman supply here, and I have been using holding on to this obsidian rock, which is making me feel so
And
grounded.
these are the other
Yeah,
ones that what are these called? Melorite or something dite. But these are in Arizona.
very nice. And that would help ground you too, I imagine.
I guess so. They're
So
yeah.
and that's part of what we're talking about. All right, so we are and by the time this airs, which in theory is 7 days from now, it will be the year 2310, and how fast things are changing. But
Yes.
what's going on in your life? And first off, give me some positives.
Okay. All right, let's on to you.
Do you have a pulse, CJ? You got a clean white shirt on. You got a roof over your head. You got
No, no, no,
headphones.
no, no,
Your
no.
family is in the
Okay,
house and they're healthy
I'll
as
tell you,
best as I can
I'll
tell.
tell you my positives. Um, it's been like literally ups and downs. So,
Of course.
yeah. So I think that I like the stress levels that I have and the distraction of my mind has been perfect practice during my meditation to kind of like it's kind of like I'm like swimming against like a current that is so gigantic and it's like I swim and I paddle towards the ocean and then like I get like pushed back to the shore and I paddle and I know paddling back and forth is um, I'm aware of when I'm getting pushed back and I'm aware when I'm paddling and in my paddling, there have been some exquisite places of peace and tranquility, and just knowing that it's all okay. So that's a highlight. I think insights that are given during, the whole idea of these challenges bring and kind of inure, and just like beautiful diamonds are created from the pressure. Um, I think similar kinds of things um, I hope and I feel are happening for everyone, not just me, but for everyone. And I almost think of it as like, there's like, it's like this, I think of it as concentric circles. So there's like external ring of chaos and fear and herd mentality and justifiable sadness. I mean, just so many feelings that I completely feel for people. So I feel all this stuff on the outside. And then I have an internal reaction. And then the internal reaction then goes out. And it's like this, the ebb and flow of the wave goes in and out. And then I have internal reactions. And then I have sometimes the internal reaction is like, oh no, this triggers something inside of me that I don't even know. My survival instinct is coming up. Oh my gosh, red flares, la 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 la. And then I go out and I try to like do things and move around and create YouTube videos and documents and and then I go, oh my God, you're getting so burnt out from doing and like, is this really helping? And then I go back and like, no, you have to calm down. And I calm down and then I'm like, no, this is what it's showing you is that the mind cannot figure out this. The mind,
Yeah.
you're
You just
completely out
hit
of
the nail
control,
on the head.
and your mind can't figure any of this out. And even when it does figure something out, it's probably wrong or different the next day. So it's kind of like this kind of so just be present and be calm. And then, so then that internal area is like going out, and then like external stuff comes and like, like shakes it up. And then I'm like, ah, and then I'm like, each time the wave comes back and forth, if I can just still my internal response, then the wave will come. If I can be strong enough so that when the wave comes in, I'm like a gigantic rock. So the wave comes in, it hits the rock doesn't change, the wave goes out. So that's kind of where I realize I'm going, but it takes practice to get there. I'm not a rock. I'm like a pebble. Like going back and forth. Maybe a bigger pebble the most, but I'm still a
Yes.
pebble.
I went into Whole Foods on Monday
Hmm.
and I set intention before I went in and I stepped foot in Whole Foods 5 minutes after they opened for us non-seniors. There's people with masks on, there's people pretty freaked out. And I started crying.
Oh,
I just went right to crying. There was such a wave of loss of innocence, loss of a way of life, loss of everything. And I then pulled myself back to center and went back to, okay, I am here not just to get food, but to be ambassador of love and light.
mm,
And so I had my moment of like that roller coaster of when down, brought it back, and at the end stopped by from a distance, much social distance, each cashier on the way out, spoke with them, sent light and love, got a smile from them, went to the next cashier, went to the next cashier, went to the next cashier. I look at this right now as an opportunity, what I call Tai Chiing or to boomerang things around.
hmm.
That negative energy comes and goes wham and rolls your rock back.
Yeah.
And then we switch it around and use that energy because that's all it is energy. Neither
Hmm.
good nor bad. That's labels that we put on it. We are basically being challenged to hold more energy than our vessels are used to carrying.
Hmm. Hmm. That's
And so,
true.
in that sense, it's an upgrade for us. It is an opportunity to learn how to play with energy at a much higher level. It's just like the mirror says, things are not always as they appear, and that's a challenge.
Yeah.
But the more that we can recognize it and anchor it, and that's what you're doing, is you're saying you would use the term being the inside of concentric circles. I would say you're being the center, the eye at the center of the storm,
Yeah.
and everything is swirling around you. And occasionally those winds whip in, but then we can swirl them back around and send them out as something different.
Hmm.
And learning to stay centered.
Mm, yes, that's exactly where I'm at. And how about you? It sounds like you've had been working with like 7 days a week, putting together these YouTube lives and premieres. So what's happening? What's happening with the community when you're talking community folks? What would you summarize are the key kind of ahas that you're getting from people?
Well, the biggest thing with the community, and we have been working on Tai Chiing this energy. So we've had a week-long positivity boot camp, and we're going to be doing more and more of these things. So that's part, and I'll get to that in a second of what the community is telling me. But what I've been doing is checking in with hundreds of people, all of my community members, on a daily basis because we get about 300 people live together as a group for each of these gatherings or classes. And I've been trying to get a finger on the pulse of what people are feeling. And then we do tapping and also the other exercises to diffuse it. The biggest fear up until now has not been fear of death of oneself or a loved one, although that is certainly growing more and more each day. The biggest fear is somewhere between lack of control and a complete and total unknown. In other words, people are feeling a wave of energy, a tsunami of energy. Even I was talking with Paul Selig earlier today, and he was talking about this feeling this tide coming in. We don't know how to define it. We don't know how to wrap our minds around it. It is it is coming out in a cough.
I have no idea where that came from.
That's energy moving. It is so palpable, so tangible, so real to all of our senses, and yet we don't know how to label it.
Yeah.
That's why we go to the news. I've been going to the news more. I will center and ground afterwards, and I go, what am I looking for? And I'm like, I'll be darned if I know. It's just my mind trying to wrap itself around the unwrappable.
Hmm.
And so I've been working with our tribe to help diffuse that energy right now.
Hmm.
So we did our boot camp this week, and people are asking us to continue with something next week. We've got a boot camp once a month, an open-hearted warrior, how to really raise up your positivity, shift your energetic states. And then once a month, we're doing a tapping boot camp to diffuse all the fear, worry, anxiety. And they're saying, can you put something in between those two? And we have such rapport with our community right now that I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to put out a survey later today. We have our last class of this boot camp this evening. And it may be, I'm joking, this is a horrible title, and you do get to watch your words, but I'm calling it right now. Jessica gave it some other. Maybe it'd be dinner with dorks is better than dinner with doofus. I don't know, but we literally might for next week have our audience get together with us and we eat dinner with them online and
Oh
we
my
talk,
gosh.
just so
Oh,
that we
dinner with
have
Michael. Oh,
yeah,
that's
we have
nice.
some community. Then we'll go back to teaching the next week, and then we'll go back to just maybe having dinner or something like that. We can answer questions. And we've been doing the YouTubes, either a YouTube Live or Premiere, where we have a guest on with us each day, which means we do a class and then we do basically another class on YouTube each evening.
Mm.
And it feels like you saw Pookie earlier. She
Yeah.
goes, she stole the mic. Is she not on fire right now?
Yeah, and she looks fantastic.
So she is feeling such a positive, energetic shift by serving right now that usually she's behind the scenes and having to do all the heavy lifting, and it's been exhausting. But for some reason, haha, as she's serving more, and this is a clue for all of us, as she's found a way to serve, to find meaning during this time, she has lit up and is on fire and has gone from last time we spoke. I said I have to be worried. I have to be careful not to burn the pookie out. Now she's basically got a rope attached to my waist and going, come on!
Wow, so she shifted. Wow, that's
Yeah.
fascinating. You know, it's interesting because I feel like um, I have had kind of a similar kind of thing, but it's I don't know if it's expressed itself. I've been asked to do this past week. A friend of mine is transitioning one of his um, people to a different, she's moving on to a different job. And so we're trying to get a bunch of training videos so that we can kind of get a sense of like what she does and how to. And so I've been doing training videos like this whole week, like a lot, like probably this whole week I've been doing training videos. And I can do it, but it's a lot of like, okay, do this step and they do that step, but like, where does that information come from? Okay, where are you getting that? Those kinds of
Very analytical.
yeah, analytical mind kind of things. And it is interesting because it puts my head in a different space. But I really, there's, it's helping a friend out to do this. But aside from that, I have no idea why I'm doing this. There's zero benefit for me. It's painful while I'm doing it. Um, but I'm still doing it out of a love for this friend who just really needs help, and I have the free time. And so, in some ways, what I would say is I don't even have any meaning ascribed to it, and I'm still doing it. It's like my mind has kind of said, "Yeah, I don't really know why you're doing this," and my body and conscious mind is like, "I hate doing this kind of work," and yet I'm there doing the work. So it's just
I don't know what to say. It's coming out of love. I like that. If you hadn't said that your body was saying, I hate this work, I would say, perfect. There's nothing wrong with doing that at this time. But the body telling you otherwise, that's the toughie.
I know, but is the body saying that because this is it's the pebble that's like, I don't
Mhm.
like this. I should be doing, oh, no, wait, why am I doing marketing? And oh, so like the body can be reacting to a mind and a construct and a set of stories
Yes.
that are all being created. And maybe it's like, maybe none of these stories are true. Maybe you're just, and what would happen if you did the work and constructed no story behind it? I don't know. I mean, that's kind of so. Even if there's no meaning, how can you go and do some of these things when you don't want to? Like, it's like coming in and changing your clothes when you walk in the door, or washing your hands so many times, or going to the grocery store with a mask. It's not like we want to do these things.
It's the meaning we choose to ascribe to
Yeah,
it.
or maybe it has no meaning for you, like, and that's okay. You just do it anyways. Like, how can you do something with no meaning, and with there's no meaning? You just do it, and there's no meaning aside from just like doing the dishes or doing. I'm like I can prescribe a meeting to doing the taxes and doing the dishes, but there's no like I can't necessarily tap to the heartfelt space immediately. At least I can make up something. My mind can make up something like, well, that money goes to fund schools and I care about schools, or I really want to wash the dishes because it's important to have a cleanly orderly house and that's important for my family. I can just make up a whole story, but fundamentally my body goes and washes dishes and goes like, no thank you. But then, but I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I just find myself washing dishes, and there's no story. I'm just like putting the dishes in the dishwasher and washing the pan, and there's like no story. There used to be. I mean, like, so I guess it's like there's a sense of kind of just doing that stuff and not having all this chatter in your head of ascribing meaning, like meaning in the negative thing. Like
Yeah.
meaning like I hate this, my body doesn't like this. Why am I doing this? I don't even know why I'm doing this. It's like I'm not putting any of those thoughts around it, or I'm trying not to. And yeah.
Thank you for my helping Pookie. Wash another dish. Thank you for my helping Pookie. Wash another dish. You can find the positive meaning to put onto that.
Yeah.
So, on the other hand, conversely, this is such a time of there's only so much. Well, I thought there was only so much time you can go into the news and go WTF
Yeah.
before you realize that it's all just a jumble of words put together and none of it really has any tangible meaning for the most part right now. And then the mind can actually relax and go to a place of it doesn't do anything. It's like your client a couple weeks ago who popped,
Yeah.
and you go to that place of nothingness, of
Yeah.
none of this. I can notice the silliness. Not that things aren't serious. I don't mean that, but I can notice the silliness in everything and I can just unplug from it.
Yeah. 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 And it's interesting because there's kind of like life has these roller coasters, but like if you roll with it or not, and how much meaning. So, um, it's like that story, that Buddhist story of a guy who son is asked to go to war. Do you know that
Oh,
one?
yeah.
Yes. Okay, so it's like
Good,
that.
bad, who knows?
Yeah, they're like, oh, your son, had a broken leg. Oh, that's bad. And he's like, good, bad, who knows? And then this is a shortcut version. And then it's like, oh, well, your son can't go to war because he's not able to serve because he has a broken leg. It's like good, bad, who knows? But it's this kind of idea like there is no meaning to any of this. Just so it's kind of a dance because our mind wants to put meaning around everything. And then in some ways, there is no meaning. Like, so for example, my son lost a summer internship. Oh no. My son heard back from this like really prestigious company to interview and he had another job and he said, no, I can't because I have this other job, but I'll get back to you. And then it's like, then he gets back and it's like, oh no, that job, had you said yes like 2 or 3 days ago, you probably could have gotten that job, but that job is filled. Now you have no summer job. Oh, like, oh, you have this job. Oh, now you have no summer job. My son is like, I don't have any some like, oh, what are we gonna do with Caden? He doesn't have. Oh, now he has this like really cool internship that came. So it's just like these ups and downs. And is it good? Is it bad? Who knows? Like to not put meaning around judging, I guess,
Okay, I'll
whether
go with
it's
that.
good
I
or
like
bad.
that judging versus meaning because I've dove into and I'm being challenged to read two books this weekend. I didn't get through it last weekend, which is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, and Irvin Laszlo, two-time Nobel Peace Prize laureate nominee, has a new book coming out, and he wants me to read that this weekend about the evolution of humanity. So I got a little reading ahead of me.
Yeah,
With that said, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. He's in Auschwitz concentration camp, and 99 out of probably 999 out of every 1,000 people who go in go to the oven and don't come out.
yeah,
And he looked at why do people come out? Why do people make it out? Other than the fact that there certainly are miracles and blessings, and it was that they ascribed meaning. They could ascribe meaning to their day, that I'm just doing it for this day. They could ascribe meaning to I'm doing this for my family, or they could ascribe meaning to I'm doing this for the greater betterment of humanity for when I get out. Whatever meaning they ascribed to it helped them get through it when literally perhaps the only thing that they had to eat that day was a bowl of stone soup, basically hot water poured over stones. And yet, if they had enough meaning, they could get through. And how I look at this time, how Paul Selig and his guys look at this time, probably how you look at this time, is I do ascribe meaning that this is an evolutionary upgrade. It ain't easy. We don't tend to learn on the couch. Paul Selig's guides were saying that we are crossing a gap, a chasm, going across a river, for instance. Not everybody will make it to the other side, but as an evolution of the species or of humanity as spiritual beings having a human existence, we are waking up, becoming more aware, and we will evolve to another electron state, so to speak. And I truly believe that. Do I believe it's easy? No. Do I believe it's fair? No. Do I believe that it's not horrific for many, many people? No. But I still see light through this process. And I'm watching global meditations. I'm watching people competing online, different spiritual teachers competing for your eyeballs because everybody's trying to wake everybody up. And we are waking up.
Mm-hmm.
So I see so much positive possibility. And maybe that's just the artificial meaning I'm ascribing to it. But it's got Jessica on fire. It's got me on fire. It's got our whole boot camp crew on fire. And I believe if we find some meaning ourselves through it, even if you don't have a home, and we had to live in Jessica's childhood bedroom before, it was a miracle that we had a roof over our head. Even if you don't have that, if you still have you, the calm at the eye of the storm, then you can ascribe meaning to it.
I think that, okay, here's what I would say. Here's how I would interpret the different kind of ways that we're reacting to the situation at hand.
Yes.
I would say that when in a place of despair, my mind is, meaning who's in despair? My mind is in despair because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I have all of these thoughts that are not helpful. Um, Putting in a template that says, like, you can create whatever reality that you want, right? Your mind is creating the reality that you want. Better to have a reality that this is an incredible time for my personal transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And if I lean into this versus go hide in the hole, or I can hide in the hole, but also realize that, after I hide in the hole, it's time to come out. And
I would say just love yourself up in the hole as long as you feel you
yeah,
want to stay there.
yeah,
Just love yourself up even then.
yeah. So I would say that you create your own reality, and so it's your mind that's creating reality. So
Mm-hmm.
if you could create a more positive reality, that's probably easier for you to navigate through this whole transition, to see all of what's happening as a positive good that will, and I'll tell you the messages that I've heard that help. One is the one
Please.
that you just mentioned, right? The one where um, it's a summation. I guess a summary of everything that we've said. One is it's an opportunity to go in. We
Yeah.
literally are inside our house, and metaphorically, if we go inside of our house, it's an opportunity to go in. And when you go in, you can be more conscious. It's an opportunity to transform, right? Because when you have this hard, when all of us are hitting this point of duress, it's an opportunity for us to, as a society, awaken and be more conscious together. And we all know what we're talking about because we're all going through it together. So there's this kind of unified consciousness, which
Yeah.
generally that's not happening. So that I like that message too. Um, I like the idea, which we talked about last week, where Mother Earth is a little bit unhappy and she needs to send us to our rooms until we can calm down, be nice, then we can come out. So I kind of like that idea. Like, this is
Yeah.
giving the world, Mother Nature, everything, our whole systems, whatever they may be, a time to rest and relax. So I like all those different things. So I'm not, and so that's an example of ascribing meaning to everything that's happening and how it helps our mind negotiate this so that we can move our thoughts to some more positive state, calm our emotions, or in the case of Jessica, light up.
Yeah.
or energy, right? It's either calm down or light up your energy or do both in a given day. Like, so I think this is the power of the mind, and I think that's one of the potential transformations that can happen. And I think that there's something, this is where I'm going right now, and I have no idea where I'm going because normally I would go exactly where you're going. But where I'm going to is this kind of the Taoist, like, I don't like. I don't know. This could have no meaning. The kind of, it's not nihilistic, but it's like no mind. Like no, like I don't know. I don't know where this is going. I'm not. When will I know? Don't know. When will It's like where's this going? Don't know. When will this change? Don't know. Okay, how can I keep my mind calm, knowing that all those things are don't know? Don't know. Yes, that's
They
like,
cancel each other
yeah,
out.
it's kind of
The
like
infinite don't know.
they do. So, so it's like just a different way of look. It's just a different place, right? So this also could be making meaning out of this, which is like maybe what this is doing for me is getting to be at peace with this don't mind no mindset because when
That's a positive as well.
right because if you can get peace with the don't know mindset when one son gets a job offer and then loses, loses a job offer and then loses the other job. It's like, well, is that good? I don't know. Is it bad? I don't know. We honestly, we really don't know whether these things, we just have a personal reaction. Our human mind has a reaction to whatever the information is, and we categorize it as good or bad. But whether those things are good and bad, we just don't know because we can't see like the full picture. We can't see the long term look at it.
Can we agree that consciousness is expanding, growing in awareness,
Yeah.
that everything is expanding?
Yeah.
So then that means that and we agree that everything is consciousness.
Yep.
Then on some level, whether it's now, whether it's 100 years from now, whether it's 100 lifetimes from now, there is expansion. I'm going to label that as goodness.
Yeah.
There is some sort of cosmic growth
Yeah.
coming out of this.
Internal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like there's nothing externally happening. No one's
Oh no,
building
it's all
anything
in,
or
no.
making anything or creating, like maybe things are being created, like the vaccinations and the ventilators, but mostly it's all internal expansion versus external expansion, which is what we've been doing for so long. Oh yeah, we can agree there. I'm just saying that my personal experience is in some weird. I mean, in a different, not weird
But
or
that
not good
place
or
of
bad. It's a different
equanimity,
place.
but that place of equanimity of neither good nor bad just is,
Yeah,
to me is actually rockin' phenomenal because
I
it
know.
allows you to surrender into the fact that until 3 or 4 days ago, your son thought he had some modicum of control in his life.
Yeah,
And that just exploded in front of him because he made the best decision based on the best information he had.
hmm,
And in theory, highly theoretically, it wasn't the quote right decision.
right.
It was obviously it was the right decision because it's how it worked out. But what it means is this is a time of ultimate surrender. We do when we can. We serve as we can. And serving may be working on our own energy and pumping that back in the field, which changes everything. In whatever way you can, you do what you can.
Yeah, serving
But it also
also can look
means
like doing nothing, like being in your
exactly where I'm
cave
going.
and like praying. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Exactly. Oh, and the prayer isn't nothing. Prayer
Yeah,
is huge right now.
right.
This we passed mile 20 in the marathon. Everybody gets religious at mile 20. So we do. You don't have to believe in God, but once mile 20 happens, you don't have to worry about prayer. It's coming. God, get me through this. Where we are as a species.
Yeah.
And there is some solace if we allow it of surrendering into all of it. Now, I want to say I can hear that I'm on a chair, I'm in a house, I have food. It's easy for me to say, but I also have been on death's doorstep twice,
Yeah.
completely broken. And even there, what I said to myself, so this was ascribing meaning, is if I can choose to find a positive out of this experience, I'm going to have the energy in the bank to be able to get through this. And if I ascribe negative meaning to it, I am going to be bereft, bankrupt of the energy it takes to go through it. And that's where we're at too. We surrender into the unknown, but if you can, ascribe something to it that gives you that meaning, that energy in the bank to help pull you forward, even if you're out on the streets, even if you don't have food, even if there's a way to get through it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just two different approaches. One is like kind of a action oriented and one is more passive stillness. And in
Yin and
some
yang.
ways it's like you take the and you take whatever is the best for you. And so for me, like the best medicine for me and how I'm hardwired, which I am I'm actually maybe proactive to sometimes a fault and responsive to a
You are
fault.
a doer. This is for sure.
Yeah, like I have a personality test that shows me as highly dominant, wanting to move forward, and highly responsive. Like it's literally like, I don't know, three standard deviations off of the curve, like in terms of where I am relative to most people. So for me, maybe what this time is, or maybe all this is utter, caca. I don't know. I mean, for me, it's about like staying still. Like, how can I stay still during all of this and do what I feel called to do through something I don't even understand. Does
I
that
will
make
pull
sense?
it. I will pull up my automatic writing here
Okay.
and see what I got this morning.
Ooh.
Now, it was this morning was a little time compressed, so my automatic writing was pretty short. But let's see what I've got. Da, 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 da. Wrote about my dreams. Um, Here we go. What do I need to know today? Yes, you can bring in the car because it's vibrating, and then you can't have a vibrating car. Um, but there's a tire balance challenge.
Mm.
And so while we want to keep social distancing, if your car's going you got to get that taken care of with some social distance. Yes to breathing more deeply. Yes to taking it incredibly easy. All will be good. All will be all right. All will be okay. These are the most important things to realize. Yes to taking things incredibly easy right now. Now is not the time to rush or push or strive, but instead to take things incredibly easy. This is really the single most important thing you get to think about right now, as it gets to be where and how can you take things incredibly easy. The easier you can take things, the more you'll have inner reserves, the better you'll work, the more bandwidth you have. So, how incredibly easy can you take things?
I love it. That's beautiful.
That's really how I'm viewing things right now. And automatic writing, it's a process we teach where you go quiet and the pen starts writing for you. Right now, I see us as all wanting or getting, or it's not a bad idea at this time, as a tsunami of something, label it whatever we want, appears to be coming our way, to put energy in the bank. And so while you're an incredible doer, I believe intuitively you have a sense that I don't want to do right now. I get to fill the reservoir. It's like I'm calling it a global winter. To me, it's a global NDE, but really it's also a global winter. And
That's a good way of
winter
thinking of it.
is when we draw in water to our roots for
Mm,
the spring ahead.
mm,
And we get to draw in. It's not, even for Jessica and myself, even with doing this 7 day a week thing, I am doing it at the most chill, slow, easy pace that I possibly can. Do you want to go run a mountain today? Do you want to go run a marathon? No, that's all right. Michael, you drove hours away to go to the high desert and go hike and run last Saturday. Do you want to take things fast? No, I'll just go nice and slow. I
mm,
sense there's something coming for all of us,
mm,
and I just want to hold my reserves.
like it. I like it. I want to ask you back. I want to circle back to something that you said
Yeah.
too. And I think which is it's so hard. You're talking about dinner with your people. You call it, well, you tell me what you call it.
Well, we'll call it dinner with Michael. I like that better. We're going to come up with a fun term because I am so we overheard a conversation before the start. We let people into the meeting room early yesterday. We overheard a conversation and I don't know exactly how it goes, but one person was saying, "Well, I found this guy who was kind of dorky on some sort of podcast," and somebody else said, "Oh, you mean Inspire Nation?" The guy's kind of nerdy there. I'll own it. I'll own it, TJ.
Wait, but I don't
And so
understand.
I'm
They're
funding up
at
with a
your
fun term.
workshop. They're at your workshop and
Yeah,
don't
well, talking
realize.
about how they first tripped across me.
Oh, okay, got it.
How they first tripped across me. And yeah, I've got bright yellow glasses. I have fun. I geek out on spirituality. I love it. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. So we'll come up with a fun title for that. But it's dinner with Michael or dinner with Michael and Jessica. And we hang, we ask questions, we talk, we have some time to have community.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the silver linings. I had a phone call with my husband's family. It was it was started by his grandfather. His grandfather had two other brothers that then had up. There were probably up to 100 people on this phone call, which you would think this is going to be a nightmare.
Well, I
But
just wonder who managed the phone call.
okay,
Was that
so
you?
no, thank God. But Norm, who is the eldest brother
More
of
sense.
the one of the brothers that had passed, his father, led it and said, "Okay, we're going to be talking to the eldest brother and everyone in his lineage, and people are going to say their names, where they're from, and anything that they want, their accomplishments." Because it's a Jewish family. So the next was like the second,
L'chaim.
yeah, the second, and like and it was so interesting just hearing. Like, first of all, we found a distant cousin that was in Seattle that we didn't even know was here. But it was interesting just seeing all these people that we had never met. Like, we've met, of course, everyone in, the slice that's Gideon and his family, all the descendants here. But we had missed like 2/3 of the pie. So it was 100-person phone call or more. I don't even know. There's so many people because they're kids and adults and whatever. And it was just so interesting. If we had not been homebound and seeking some type of community, we probably wouldn't have had it. We also had like Gideon's immediate family had another phone call, and then his sister and he had a phone call, and then he and his two sisters had, and I don't think I've ever seen him have that many family phone calls. I just called my mom on Zoom, who actually we called her on the phone originally to kind of set it up to make sure she knew how to set up. So she's on the Zoom call like this, and we said, "Mama, you don't have to like listen on your phone anymore. It's going to come through the computer." She's like, "Okay," and she's like, "So keep on." Like finally, you're like, hang up the phone, hang up the phone. You don't need to do it. But it was just so darn cute talking to my mom. But I think that community is one of those things that's just been a blessing. And like, chances are those people who were lonely before, and just this crisis kind of makes it even more acute. So I just think it's so lovely that are you all going to eat the same thing or everyone's going to eat something different? And
Well,
how are
we're
you
not
going to
cooking
talk?
for everybody around the
Yeah,
world.
exactly. How are you going to manage this?
It's fascinating because it actually goes against like I am embarrassed if I've had a long day and I'm coaching to even think about eating in front of a client. So
Yeah.
this like goes against my ethos, but we're just going to kick back and I have no idea how it'll organize itself. There'll be some organic understanding to this, but we'll get time to hang with peeps so that we don't feel we're alone during this time. And I think that's so important when it comes to meaning. It is hard to ascribe meaning when you find yourself off by yourself, secluded. Actually, maybe even harder than that is secluded with somebody that draws your energy down or is even abusive. That's who I feel for in the most
Yeah,
in this
absolutely.
time. So
Yeah. I've
having
someone who's
people,
like part of Child Protection Services and she's like, we do online phone calls, but it's not the same. is to face visits, and it's like just her killing her, that she can't see these people face to face and help, because they're sometimes in domestic violence and those
That's what I'm
kinds of
talking.
situation. Yeah, that's just so hard. It's
So
very
so
hard.
we'll come together with for dinners. Is my guess is what it'll be. This week we'll do dinners. Next week we'll do the most amazing boot camp again, um, and then we'll do dinners, and then we'll do. Actually, no, the next one will be tapping. We're going to tap away fear and worry, anxiety after the week of dinners. Then we'll fear, worry, anxiety, dinners again, and then something on rewiring the subconscious. And we'll just use this as a time to grow closer and to in a sense, draw inward with guidance
Yeah,
is
I
a good
like it. I just had this vision of you all eating meals and then actually showing what you're eating, and then
I
putting
I
and then
did
doing
that
a
last night.
recipe. Okay, and then exchanging recipes. Like maybe it's
Ooh,
like creating your favorite meal, showing it, and then exchanging recipes online. That would be fun.
I like it. Speaking of exchange, we did. Jessica was called. This is all she has been just on fire with
Yeah.
everything. How can I help? So we got an email a couple weeks ago saying I would like to pay for somebody to join the class who
Oh,
can't afford
scholarships.
to,
Yeah. Yes.
and it's only $7.
Yeah.
However, $7 to somebody right now could be a lot.
Yeah.
And Jessica thought about it and came up with a way so that when people sign up, they could donate another $7 and we could bring somebody else in. And we have so many people coming in for free right now,
Oh,
which is
nice.
awesome, awesome, awesome. And we were like, just go to our inspirenationsshow.com website, go to the contact form, let us know you want in. And so we've been letting in so many people to it just feels so good. And we had no idea how this would take off. And so on both sides, people wanting to help, people needing assistance, and we're learning and growing about these things. Jessica would say it's because we're asking, what do you need?
Mm.
How do you want to participate? How do you want to help? And that is helping everybody find their individual role in this
Mm.
temporary new norm.
I love that. That's a great idea. I think that even, yeah, I have a friend who's been doing something like that, but the idea of like doing scholarships. So if you send it out soon enough, you can send out scholarships for these things, right? So you can say, hey, I have like 15 scholarships, so I can
And even on
actually
the,
now offer.
the last hour or two, I'm emailing our list going, we still have free spaces available.
Yeah.
Don't be shy. Don't worry. You don't have to feel anything. Just let us know. Let's get you in.
Mm, I love that. That's really beautiful.
You've gone to the
I'm
pen,
gonna
which
have
means
I'm gonna have to steal that idea. Sorry.
please,
I have a
please
friend
steal
who's
it.
gonna
Take
I
it.
have a
Run with
friend
it.
who actually I'm helping him with this workshops. That's one of the things. And so I'll have to steal the I recommend that idea. I like it.
Please, please do. We will trademark it by Pookie. But go for it.
Thank you, Pookie.
Any last things you can think of or that you wanted to discuss? We had concentric waves of circles, head opening, video madness, hearing noises. Has the noise continued?
Okay, yes, I'll just talk about this very quickly. So, a girlfriend of mine, I think I told you how I did this workshop where I was trying to figure out what to do with my teachers. I was having like, I'm not sure, where should I go? Like, kind of, are you my mommy? Like that kind of problem. And then at the end, I kind of finally resolved that the solution at hand was like perfect. And then I think I told you that like her teacher stepped in and like I had like this Disney like explosion of light in my head and I was like,
Yes.
oh gosh, now I'm gonna have to investigate this. So I have investigated this and it's the idea of it's called Master Path Healing of Light and Sound. And the idea is that beyond light there's sound, that the vibration of sound will come along. And that the sound current actually has a healing vibration that literally is sending love vibrations too. It's like packets of love, boom, that come in. And lately, I've had I don't know, three or four things that have been happening to me. So one time I was asleep and I heard a bing, and I was like, thought it was my phone. So I looked and nothing was on the phone, and I was like, holy heck, like I'm hearing some type of noise just out, like, and the teacher mentions that stuff does happen in when you're sleeping. And then before the call, I could hear these noises that, like you said, there's nothing, and I have no idea where these noises are coming
Yeah.
from. And then every now and then, I'll just hear silence, if that makes sense. So I know there's
Yes.
external noise, and it's just like,
I have a woo-woo term for all of this.
yeah,
So either if you hear silence, like it seems like the universe all of a sudden dialed things down,
yeah,
like
like
you're
all of
all
a
of a
sudden the
sudden in the
volume turned
Matrix,
down. Yes.
and or the reverse, and all of a sudden you hear this. All of this to me, I have no idea if it's real or not, but the word that I ascribe to it is Pookie. I'm getting a download right now.
Oh,
Like the universe is giving me like light transfer of information, either in silence or in tone, that I don't know what to do with on a conscious level, but somewhere inside of me has a very clear understanding of what's going on. But it's where things aren't normal anymore. All of a sudden, a sound, a no sound, which is extremely loud, and you take notice of it. Something is going on greater than our 3D
it
existence.
was already happening where I would feel like that, but it's happening with more frequency now. Now, sometimes it's kind of like a, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's a high pitched silence. It's kind of like
Yes,
a, I don't, if I were to put a sound to it, it's kind of like, and you're like,
we'll be screening that sound
yeah.
for our audience here.
I don't know where it's coming from, but I think so you can understand now as a point of reference why not knowing your mind not knowing what's happening and making
Yeah.
meaning out of it is kind of maybe a good thing right now for me.
So I'm going to end on a similar but
Yeah.
radically different note. We started a few days ago based on because we're really listening to our audience and our tribe. Somebody had suggested that we start playing some music at the beginning of our class
Oh,
because we
nice.
do some exercises to bring the energy up. And so 2 days ago we did "Happy" with Pharrell Williams,
Yeah.
and we had everybody dancing to "Happy." And yesterday, if I get the last name right, Justin Timberlake
Yes.
with his "Happy" dance song.
How could you not know Justin Timberlake? Michael?
I'm sorry, haven't been in the mainstream. I confuse him with Justin Bieber. I don't know my Justins,
I thought I was clueless, but you're now hitting a new level for me in music. Thank
but
you.
we
Thank
danced.
you. That's lovely.
Bringing it back around, we danced, and there was, and we actually did an Om meditation. We do a group meditation each day. We did an Om meditation with everybody in Resonance last night.
Oh,
That
nice.
rocked. But that resonant frequency, whether you get it like in the start of the day, I'm putting on some amazing music, not necessarily Justin Timberlake, but music to bring the energy up. And that energy, I believe the walls, the air, the everything will hold that vibration that you imprint in your space.
I agree.
And so use frequency right now for all that it is worth. We are frequency, we are energy. And so attune to that song as much as you can, whatever that looks like for you.
Yes, I love it. I've been doing Om Namah Shivaya, and then
Perfect.
like when you tune into the frequency of that, it's just like whoo, completely calm. Love it. So
Woohoo!
those are my final words. So
That's all I've got. Come on over to inspirenationuniversity.com to check out our next classes, our next boot camps, community dinner with me. I'm guessing we'll be on there. I can't wait to see how that's marketed.
dinner with Michael. Oh, will you please have Jessica make some fun things? So she makes such wonderful desserts, kombucha, like have her do some kind of interesting treat each time. That would be so fun.
I'll ask her about that because I did want a brownie yesterday. Yesterday was my 14th birthday. So
Oh.
14 years since my first NDE, April 2nd, 2006.
Oh.
And I felt like I wanted some chocolate, some cake, some something. So maybe this weekend I can get her to make something and we'll share it with our
Yeah,
community
that'd be cool. Then you can put the
virtually.
recipes. You can start the recipe share. I'd like that because Jessica is so talented as a cook.
She is, and she laughs at me so much because right now I'll like, particularly I had dental work, and now I'm stuck in between dental work. We could be on a long
Oh
dental
no. Yeah.
hiatus, and so I'm eating basically. I take some veggies that had some consistency. I throw them into the steamer for about 3, 4, 10 times as long as they're supposed to
Oh
be done
no.
into the pot. And when they come out total mush, They're just about the right consistency for you.
Baby food. Oh, so like
Yes,
eating baby food with Michael.
it might have a ring to it. Maybe on many levels. Although we don't want to call in baby. Well, if baby wants to come in, we'll call in baby. But
Yeah.
but but we have held off on the pursuing wanting baby temporarily because we don't want to bring pregnant. She's not, but bring a pregnant mama into the hospital during this time.
Yeah, good point. Wow. Wow.
So
Yeah.
I know, I know. So everybody, we love you guys. We love you. We love you. We love you. Go to equanimity and go to nothing. Ascribe meaning. Go to both. Go to neither. Is it good? Is it bad? Who
Who
knows?
knows? And I'm
And
gonna
above,
spray chakra 5 and 6. Woo hoo hoo! And I just sprayed
and
it
I'll
in my
meet
eye.
your chakra 5 and 6 with some ghost pepper and some Carolina Reaper. Do not try this at home, ladies and gentlemen. But above and beyond all else, shine bright.
Woo!